Welcome back. Today, I want to start a new project. Okay, I know what you're gonna say. Nikolai, don't you have too many projects as is? How do you have time for another project? And you're right. I don't have time for another project. But how about this? How about we go back to an old project and restart it as a new project and continue building it to be something newer and better? Get away in technicality like that. So, what project am I talking about? On my website, I have these two toolbars. I have an EDD toolbar, which is this guy right here, and I have an Excel Auto-format toolbar, which is this toolbar over here, which are really cool. And what they do is they just help you work in Excel. Right, so they just have different tools. I'm going to show you what they are. What the problem with them is, I wrote this so long ago that whenever I look at the code there, it makes me cringe. It's something that's supposed to happen as you get better. You know, when you're looking at your old code, it's supposed to look bad and be like, oh man, I would not have wrote it like that now. And so because of that, I don't want to make any improvements to it. I don't want to change it. I don't want to mess with it. It's like this old code that works that I just don't want to touch. Well, what I want to do is take what I learned from these toolbars, take the code, take them, not necessarily copy and paste the code, but maybe sort of copy and paste and adjust, and build a new toolbar that's going to have these functionalities from both of these toolbars and combine them into one new one, bring in some new additional tools and different, I don't know, cool things that I can come up with. And so what that's going to do is it'll give me a chance to rewrite some of the code that I don't like. Most of the code's already been figured out, so I don't have to rewrite like a lot of this stuff. And so that's going to be the new project. So let's quickly go over what these toolbars are and what they do. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm thinking that I want to create in the new toolbar. So EDD toolbar deals with like working with paths and Bates numbers specifically. What I can do is click on, say, give me a file list. I'm going to paste the path, and bam, I get like a dir list of files, right? Normally you would use some kind of directory list utility or something, and here we can just do it by clicking the button. Now I could say, all right, well, let's split this path into name and extension. Bam, right? And so now you can take this and you can send this to a client as a report, maybe do tally by extension or something like that. Or if you have a dat file with native path, you say, okay, I think these paths are broken. Can you check for me? And you could say path not file found, and it's going to tell you true or false where this file actually exists on the file system. Of course, someone's honking, that's normal. We can also do something like, all right, let's get file size, and it's going to give you the byte count size as well as human readable, megabytes, kilobytes, and so on. All right, and then if we want to, we could just highlight this whole thing and say, all right, give me a dat file. So you can click on save to dat, and that's going to make a dat file with all the concordance delimiters of the selection in the Excel that you made. I mean, this thing saved me so much time over trying to export it to a CSV and do all kinds of stupid stuff like that. And then the other tools here, we got like a split Bates number. So if you have a Bates number and you want to separate prefix number, suffix, mess about with it, and then you can recombine it back into a Bates number. Calculate like a page count between starting and the ending number, you know, things like that. Do some gap checking if Bates numbers are missing. People generally don't need gap checks too much. We used to do it when, you know, scanning, you know, you scan a whole box and then see what's missing. All right, so this is the EDD toolbar. It deals with paths and Bates numbers. Now, Excel Auto-format toolbar deals with preparing Excels for printing or converting to PDF. Now, I know we don't print anymore to paper, like Excels, I mean, pretty much no one does that, but people still prefer to image these Excels for redaction, or sometimes they want PDF of it for whatever reason. And what this toolbar will do is it'll apply multiple different options, like it'll clear print area, remove repeating rows and columns, auto size things, unhide sheets, and do all that stuff like in one shot. So let's do that. I'm gonna click on apply formatting, and it's gonna go through every sheet, and it's going to apply formatting, change it to a page break view, and so on. And now I got an error here, so it tells me that it was unable to set my DPI to 300. That's because my printer doesn't support 300 DPI. But it keeps track of everything it's doing, and it is going to tell you like what it did and what it failed to do if the Excel had some kind of restrictions, like a locked areas or something. And so now we have an Excel file that's ready to print. So if I hit Control P, now it's going to be landscape, grid lines turn on, all kinds of fun stuff. Everything we need to either send it to a printer or PDF driver, or just maybe you want to image it for redaction manually or something like that. And again, it does it on every sheet, and it goes through everything in here and is making sure that all these settings apply. Now, this is not like a magic or anything. You can do all these things manually by going to page setup and doing all that. But this saves you so much time by automating this step. It's, you know, it's just crazy, you know. So my plan is to take these two toolbars, combine them into one master toolbar, like something, you know, we'll just call it EDD-Toolbar. It's going to be one package, and then start modernizing it, you know, just adjusting what features we still need, what features we no longer need, and start adding cool other things. Now, so what are the cool other things that we can add here? Well, one of the things I've purchased recently is an API to read content of a PST file. So I figured how cool would it be is if we can just, instead of just doing the file list, we can also just say, okay, import a PST file. And you can have a content of a PST file imported into Excel. Now, it's not going to be like processing, but it'll give you preview. It'll give you all the metadata from PST, and maybe give you like a snippet of a body of a message, so you could get an idea what the message is. Now, that's actually not super useful. What will be useful is if you could do some kind of tally, you know, maybe tally on document extensions, tally on files, tally on recipients, so that whenever somebody gets a PST and the client goes, hey, what's in it? Well, you can look at it and get an idea of the content of that PST. So another use case would be people ask like, hey, we don't know who custodian of this PST is. Is it possible to look at the sent items and see who's the person who sends the most messages in that PST or something like that? And so you can see the preview of a PST in Excel, and then click on the filters in Excel, click on the drop down for your sender names, and see all the senders that are present. I think it'll be a pretty cool way of looking at it and possibly getting an idea of what is contained in your PST. Same idea I want to do possibly with content of a zip file. So if you have if the client sends you a zip file and says what's in it, wouldn't it be cool to just load a list of the content into Excel and just send it back to them saying, yeah, here's what you sent me. And then they already know the content. So that's kind of the idea where I want to start. I want to see if I can take a PST and possibly zip APIs and try to read more stuff into Excel so that you can act on your data earlier in the case, right? As opposed to getting data, processing, looking at it, and figuring out this isn't it, or this is it, or I need more. You can get super quick preview inside of the Excel. And again, this is not going to replace processing. This is just a preview. All right, guys, that is my plan for the toolbar. I'm gonna get started on it. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have, but I'm gonna start slowly sort of pecking away at it and seeing if I'm getting good results or not getting good results. And if I am getting good results, I'll be inspired by it, and then I'm gonna be motivated to work on it. And if it's near, then maybe I'll be more reluctant to work on it. Anyway, I'm gonna post videos with updates like with other projects to see how it goes. And well, that's pretty much it. But that's my introduction of a new old project. Right? I'll see you guys next time.